one of the best parts of this website is really the sort of originality that you show in it. I think, these blurred out pictures of grain, the kind of feeling of marble behind. I think both of those are interesting, and what's going on behind your nav bar is interesting. So they're all very original. All those kind of pieces are original. The imagery you chose is also pretty good. I mean, I think it's on point with what the messages are, and so is, the color is on point with the messages are. The layout, it has a little bit of awkwardness in certain places, especially in terms of the grid and making sure that everything kind of lines up. But overall, most of your elements sort of make sense. One of the issues, though, is with your images is that they're not in Photoshop. A lot of them are blurry, and I think the blurriness sort of makes it feel less sophisticated. And I think some blurriness is okay. I mean, I think in the wheat it seems obvious that you meant to make it blurry, but at the same time, in the images themselves, in the actual website, there's a lot of blur, and I think that kind of takes away from the images. The typography, I think, is okay. I think the typeface is very, very casual, I guess, and I think that kind of is, at odds with the sophistication of the restaurant. So I like that you went out and you chose a different typeface, though. So some of this, one of the things I like is you're taking a lot of risks. Not all of them are paying off, and I think that you're going to have to figure out which ones are paying off and which ones are not, and kind of go from there. I think that's, a very important sort of lesson as you go forward. I think that one of the strongest parts is the color palette. I think the really neutral kind of brown works very nicely for both natural and for sort of sophisticated. So I think, you're doing a great job in that. But I'm not sure. The typeface definitely has a more casual feel to it. In terms of, let's go back. I can't remember what the different things were. Yeah, so you did okay in terms of typography, layout, color. You did very well in imagery, sort of middle. Degree of difficulty you did very well in because you took again some risks. You brought in this thing comes in, it fades in. It's really cool. All of those things are very compelling. A lot of your skills you did very well in. Margins and padding, and again, Photoshop you could do better in. Both of those things could be improved. Also, your file names had, I think, dashes, and you had a capital letter in them. So make sure that those things don't happen. But overall, your skills were pretty good. I think, the Photoshop piece again and again is one of the biggest pieces. The other piece that I think you want to think about is interface and layout, because a lot of the layout pieces feel kind of pushed in there. They're not lining up. They're not aligning. They don't have sort of, they don't have an axis. And I think that that's really important. I think a lot of students feel like centering is the best way to go. But, at the same time, something that really feels modern and clean and sophisticated is going to have a sort of background grid to it, and different things are being lined up. So, for example, like the nav bar, these spaces in between are kind of cool, but at the same time, they sort of detract from the grid, and they make us look at this as 5 different objects as opposed to one big object, which is what you're thinking. You should be thinking about. Also, the relationship of this to this to this. I think it's great to have different size images on the homepage, but you just want to make sure they kind of fit together. I think the Jean Georges site had really beautiful images that kind of fit together in a grid so that they all made sense as they went through. But again, I think I really very much applaud the fact that you are trying out new things, and you're really, the wheat image in the background of the top part is one of the most successful elements. And I think, it shows an originality, which is important.